And we are officially live, finally, after our third attempt.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to your journey, your tower journey. My name is Katarina.
My name is Sabrina, and we're doing the High Priestess, which
Woo!
is number 2.
Which is one of our favorites.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Because she's a badass.
Yes, and for everybody who's new here, this is a mini tarot series just to help, not even help, it's just to allow you to know a little more about tarot. We're going to go card by card every Saturday, and we're going to give our interpretations and how you can actually apply it. We're actually going to do a little almost example of a card reading with the High Priestess to see how you can apply it. We're going to add that too now in our episode. So yes, go ahead, Sabrina.
So the High Priestess, for me, she's number 2. I really actually want to use the card. This is the original Rider-Waite, which is very symbolic. To me, I feel like she's akin to the Kabbalism. I don't know. Kabbalistic studies, I guess, like a Jewish religious, like a spiritual faction, I guess.
It's like a religion.
Kind of, yeah.
Cult.
And here she is. I want to describe to you the beautiful symbolism here. It's like these 2 podiums next to her, right? These polar opposites, but the polarity of humanity is like right here, right? And she's in between them. And I want to like laugh. I made her laugh. When I see B and J, I think of blowjob. Sorry if there's any children watching, but every time I see it, I'm like, what is that? But the B is Boaz and the J is Jachin, and they're from the temple, the Solomon temple. So we can go deep into it, but I don't know it 100%. So I just wanted to show you this, the polarity of it. And then behind, we see her with the pomegranate, which is very, it's a fruit that is very symbolic in the Jewish religion. And it's you guys often have that if you're watching and you're Jewish. It's like during Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur, I believe. And the pomegranate is about prosperity and life. And here it's like, if you see the shape of it, is divine feminine. And here there's also palm trees, and the palm trees are divine masculine. So she is she's the bringing together of both divine feminine and masculine, which we see here with the black and the white and the pillars. That's what I wanted to say. And I never noticed, but behind is water. Did you ever notice that?
I think
like
one
water
person has mentioned that because it means the subconscious mind.
Right. And she's the subconscious. She has the moon at her feet, which is the subconscious mind. And I mean, there's so much to look at her. And she's carrying the scroll of Torah, which is the divine law, which is the Akasha, which is the past, present, future. So all of this is saying, sorry, it took me a while to get there, but all of this is to say, like, she is the embodiment of, she's a neutral. Like she's like, we said the fool is neutral because of the 0 point and he begins a journey, but she's really this like all-knowing being, right? She's she unafraid to face, she's a subconscious mind. She's unafraid to face the unknown, but she's like unapologetic, which I freaking love her. Because her intuition is like, no one can sway her. Whenever I see her in the tarot, I'm like, this is like a lot of us have a hard time trusting our intuition. And she's that card that is like, no one can tell me otherwise, because I believe in what I believe. Like, I am who I am.
She's basically the 0 point amidst the chaos, amidst everything and nothing at the same time. She is in the limbo. She's in between the world, in between the podiums, in between the spiritual and the material as well. She is basically representative of the divine feminine, that kind of energy, the intuitive, the mystical, the mysterious, the stillness, the trusting, the void, right? That void where anything and nothing is happening on the same time. She is a representation of that.
Yeah, astrologically, like, because the moon is here, the planet is the moon, but astrologically she's the Cancer. Cancer is, and the moon, they're divinely feminine energies. So she is the embodiment divine feminine, but I really like that they have that the picturing of the they have the divine masculine that is here, because really what is the feminine and masculine is just, we are just one, right? She's just like this, like the neutral zone between these polarities. Like I like what she said, like the spiritual and the material world, right? She's
which is very also feminine masculine if you think about it in those energies too. But it's also, you make it's true, we are both masculine and feminine. We each have it within ourselves. And what's interesting about the moon is that they say it's the sun that reflects it, right? So you can't have the moon without the sun technically, but it's also the more, and I had read once where when the masculine actually it's a symbolism and metaphor of when the masculine actually pours in to the feminine, that's when the moon actually starts to glow, right? So it's almost this give and take, because the masculine energy is very giving and the feminine is receiving. And the more you pour into it, the more it shines, right? It shines through the masculine with the anyways, but we can go into
I find that you know what I find interesting now that I think about the symbolism of the water behind her, but maybe it's because it's behind her, because I don't feel like the high priestess is emotional at all. She's very reserved and actually cold. I don't see her as a warm person at all. And she's like, Cancer is warm and the moon is warm, but her, I really truly see her as a very stoic character in this journey. And the Fool comes to see, and she's like, this is how it is. Boom, boom, boom. Like she has no emotion, which is not a bad thing, right? Like in the human world, we're like, oh no, she's unemotional. So she's like,
for you, she's a representation of the Queen of Swords.
Yeah, she is. To me, she's like that, like, don't F with me kind of. I speak my truth. You can tell me your truth. I don't judge you, but this is where I stand. But I feel like the high priestess to me is, if she's high in that echelon in the journey, she's very she's worked her way to that, right? She's done all the steps that she needed to.
That's really interesting. That's not how I see her at all.
Okay.
I see her completely opposite. I get the stoicism 100%, but for me, the high priestess she feels absolutely everything. And because she's able to feel everything, she's able to be the eye of the storm. And this is where her magic lies, is that no matter what happens, she's okay with it. She's okay with what is. She's okay with the unknown, because a lot of the times these emotions come up because we're afraid of what's going to happen, how's it going to happen, where it's going to happen. And this is the emotional roller coaster that we kind of get in, but she has control over that. She doesn't care really, because she knows that everything has a purpose. Everything has, like, that trust is that internal absolute trust in herself and making that decision. I know that no matter what decision I make, I'm going to trust it because I trust myself. Whether I make a mistake or not, it's part of the journey. It's part of the process. And it's like the ultimate acceptance and being okay with not knowing, meaning that her emotions no longer control her. She is that she is. She is the ultimate being.
But you see her as expressive?
In this
emotionally expressive?
I see her not necessarily expressive. I see her as being able to handle all of that emotions and being okay with it.
Yes.
And but
she's,
that emotion is still there.
Okay, yeah.
The emotional state is still there. And she's like, she actually to me, is like she likes to dive. She's a diver, deep diver. She likes to go into the emotion and actually be with it fully %. So it no longer controls her, type of thing. And so there is this passivity because she just allows things to be. But I don't see her as cold. Like I can't.
Oh, interesting.
I don't see her as cold.
I don't see her as even having to tap into the emotion at all, because she's already in the knowing state. So she doesn't have to go into any emotion because she's already in that state of knowing. But it's interesting. I like it. Okay, that's it. This is the beauty of tarot. It's like there's so many interpretations, and a lot of it is reflective of you too. Like how does she like, how do you resonate with her, with yourself, right?
Yeah,
Kind
100%.
of thing. So for
Yeah.
me, I like her because she's like a bit like that. I'm like, I could get very numb when it comes to emotions, and I kind of resonate with her too for that. Yeah, I aspire to be the all-knowing and facing the unknown.
Face the
She is a deep
unknown.
diver, though. She totally like is able to deep dive into anything because she is fully present, right? Between these two pillars. Like they can pull at her, the black, the white, whatever it is, all the division is all around her, but she just sits on that thing. And the fact that she's just sitting and she's staring at us means to me like confidence. And the high priestess, the spirit animal of the high priestess, the owl.
Oh, interesting.
Which is the higher wisdom as well.
It's the unseeing also.
Yeah.
What's
in the dark.
In the dark, because they're night creatures, right? They're night birds. And they're also the messengers of the underworld.
Yeah. Well, which is her reversal, I guess.
Yeah. Well, her shadow would be definitely somebody who's avoiding it, or who's too afraid to actually go within her emotional states and go within the hidden world, right?
Repressing her true state.
Not trusting, not listening to her intuition, right? Not giving that space where she can actually go in and just feel whatever needs to be felt so she can be released, or so she can get that inner knowing of, oh, this is what it is. This is what's happening. This is my lesson. This is where I'm going, right? Would you even say that she is that receiver in terms of, I wonder, that just popped in my head.
What do you mean? I don't think she's a giver.
No, definitely not a giver.
I mean, she's a giver only if asked.
Of knowledge.
Like she's to me an oracle.
Yeah.
You know, of like when you think of ancient Rome and ancient Greek, they used to go to the oracles, always women, for higher knowledge or wisdom. And she to me is the oracle, who just sits on her throne and is like, what do you think if we go into war with the visit, whatever? It is silly. It is all an illusion, people. Okay, whatever. I'm just saying.
You see, I never see her as Cancer. I always see her as Pisces.
Okay.
Someone who's able to swim in between all the realms and get all the information as...
I've always seen her as Virgo. So that's so crazy. I know, even though she's all like water and this, but for some reason it's always been stuck as Virgo. Maybe I saw it once in a book and I was like, oh, Virgo makes sense to me. Because Virgo is always is kind of like self-assured, and they stick to their guns, and they're very like rational in a sense. But not
definitely that Queen of Swords energy.
Libra energy,
Virgo. Yeah.
So that's like already air, and Virgo's earth, and this is water. So we're all like, oh, you know, she's definitely not fire.
No, but then again, that's the beauty of tarot too, because it really is your interpretation, how you connect with the card. Because the cards are, the definitions is one thing, but how you're going to connect with the cards is going to be different from every other person. And that's, I believe, how it should be with any tool. You're not supposed to be attached to, oh, but this person said this and that person said this. Yeah, but you're going to have a different relationship with it.
And like Katarina said too the last time, she's like, can you pay attention to the symbolism? I cut you off, but pay attention to the symbols of the cards. And it's true. Like she interprets cards completely different than I am, and I love it, and I like appreciate what she sees, because she really looks into like what the character is doing, and that's helped me to look at that too,
and to really see what comes out to you,
and also
at that moment. And that's what I love about this kind of way of interpreting, is when the card can actually mean two different things with two different people, completely different. You might look at this card for one person and say, oh yeah, you have to go in between worlds. And then for somebody else, they're going to notice maybe the pomegranate, and you're like, oh, the pomegranate is sticking out for me. So for me, pomegranate is abundance. You're probably going to get a big abundance that you won't even be aware out of, because it represents unknown. And it doesn't even matter if it represents unknown, but it's just, you're going to get abundance. in the air because the pomegranate's in the air. You know, just a question. Just a one other way of tapping into your intuition, which is perfect because she's all about intuition, right?
Yeah. And she's also a 2s. And if you look at the 2, it's the Roman numeral 2. And I love it. It's like the
pillars.
Right? She's in between these pillars. And it's almost like an 11, which is a divine number as well. If you look at it. And number 2 is union, right? Which is interesting because it's partnership. And she doesn't show any signs of partnership here. But like you can always take that, depending with these two, like the partnership of the spiritual and the material world, the physical and the mental world,
balance.
You know, like there's a whole bunch of ways to interpret according. That's why every single tarot reading is completely different. It's not the same as the other one because you're asking us a question. It's completely different. So let's do that.
Yeah, let's show you how you can actually apply it.
So
now the High Priestess.
Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is look for the High Priestess. She's probably going to take me forever because they always like to play tricks on me and say, start from the back. And it's always in the front. Okay. Right? Like right now. So
meanwhile, you can actually ask yourself, how do you actually use your intuition? Is there a method you use? Can you actually create a moment for yourself where you can step back so you can hear your intuition? Is this a normal practice for you? And if it's not, how could you incorporate it daily so you can hear your intuition, which is probably your soul trying to tell you where to go? Is this something you can incorporate in your daily routines, right? We found it?
Yeah. So sometimes when I'm looking for a quick read, I just ask a question like, where, how can I find the strength in my life or the courage in my life, or what do I need to know, whatever. And I pull and I look for the strength card, and I look for what's coming and what's repressed.
Smart.
Yeah.
Like
just
that.
like, am I judging myself right now? And I look for the justice card and I see like, back and forth kind of thing. So
I like that a lot. Using the majors like that is a beautiful way of doing
just like a quick
interpretations.
So here, the High Priestess, as we are talking about her, what's coming or what's in front of her is the Ten of Swords.
Interesting.
Right? And the Ten of Swords is a Gemini energy, and it's about like releasing this. For me, the Ten of Swords is about release, like in the midst of grief or anxiety or stress, and you're at the end of releasing that from you.
It's like the ending of a cycle.
But
Pens are ending of a cycle.
Exactly. And the next card after that, just to show you, because it's is the Lovers. So I found that was interesting. I was like, what? So it's like the High Priestess is asking you with a Lovers card, and they're both Gemini energies, which is really interesting. Maybe there's something within your relationship that you need to pay attention to. Something that is like you have to address that's been weighing heavily on you. Are you listening with a clear mind, or are you like this where you said are you able to discern from your ego mind the chatter or the intuition? Interesting. What are you thinking?
Well, you had the other one that was right before it too, that I found really interesting. So she picked one that was right before.
Is the Page of Cups.
And right after. So the Page of Cups, the way I saw it, and it's interesting that you had the Lovers right after too, is that you have the Page of Cups over here that represents something new. It's a new beginning. It's a page right before. It's a court card, and anyways, we can go deeper. But
we'll go after.
Yeah, exactly. The page in itself of cups are emotional, and it usually pages are messengers. So they're messengers of love a lot of the times. Could be a love for a person, love for a project, love for maybe yourself. And the High Priestess over here is basically the unknown. There's something that is maybe feeling off, or your intuition is trying to tell you something in regards to maybe this message, this person, this project, that if you don't pay attention to, if you avoid it, you might actually.
Oh, this is the future. This should be like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
That becomes the same thing. If you don't pay attention to it, well, then you have the 10 of swords. That could be the outcome, which is basically a brutal ending. Because especially in regards to the swords, the original card, you have 10 daggers behind someone's back and they're dead on the floor. And it's usually a very accumulated, it's stuff that you've been feeling, stuff that you've been sensing in regards to this person, place, or thing. I mean, over here, person, place, or thing, and you've been avoiding it. You didn't want to dive in deep. You didn't want to do the research. You didn't want to go inside and be like, hey, what is going on here? And the ending is a brutal one in terms of, okay, if you're not going to do it, the universe is going to end this situation for you because you're not taking the hint. You're not actually paying attention to what's underneath the surface, what's going on. And then I find it interesting.
Do you think you feel like the page are people?
It can be a person
thing. It's always a person to me.
Oh yeah,
a page. The page. Any court card is a person.
For me, court cards could be a person because they represent people. But for me, it doesn't have to represent. It could be what it represents. In this case, could be a message.
Love or new love.
New love. It could be a project.
Or a child. Page.
Yeah, it could be also.
This could also be, when I look at this, I look at like someone, because the pages before, someone maybe just got not diagnosed. Someone just got told that they were pregnant. And intuitively, they're like, oh, gee, like, I'm very stressed right now. I have like, what do I do? Oh my God, that could be, but that's very like,
yeah, there's many interpretations. So many and again, it depends on who's asking the question, and depends on what they're looking for and the intention behind it too, right?
The Page of Cups is super idealistic, very naive. So
pages
like,
are usually naive,
very like, oh yeah, oh my God, yeah, like, but which I love pages. I feel like they're so like pure, right? But there's some heaviness here with the head, like the 10 of Swords, because the 10 of Swords means that the 9 of Swords is like anxiety to the nth degree, and the 10 of Swords is that I'm still like, I still can't handle it right now. I'm at the end of all my extreme thoughts and my extreme insomnia, whatever it is, but I'm just, I don't have the power to get up. And your High Priestess is like, it's time, like for her being in the middle, it's like, okay, just take that time to face your fears. Take the time that you need, but you're at the end of the journey. So don't worry about it. Like, let this like childish dream like seep in a little bit deeper, right? I feel like it's like maybe allow it to like take precedence over your like psychoness here.
Yeah, it could be that too. And if it was actually in the end of the this whole reading, it could be also, oh, something's causing you turmoil or something's coming to an end. We're gonna burn the cards soon because they're falling into our candle
for a reason, I guess. I don't know.
So if the High Priestess was after the two first cards, well, it could also represent
after. Okay, just do it like this. If it was after the both, okay.
Well, if it was the last card, let's say, it doesn't really matter. If it was after, it could easily be interpreted like, oh, well, whatever's happening over here with this new endeavor person or yourself, if you're the one that's being naive or you're jumping into something that you're not too sure, but it's causing you stress and it's actually causing a very brutal ending. Are you able to hold space for yourself in that brutal ending? Are you able to hold that stillness, patience for yourself to actually allow all that to pass and have more information come into the unknown, right? That
also, like High Priestess, if you're asking like a yes and no question, she's a big yes, right? So if like, yes, she is.
For me, it's like,
for me, I used to think she was like, no, like neutral, right? But she is very intuitive. So should I like jump into this young relationship even though I'm feeling like overwhelmed? 1000%, man. What are you feeling inside? Go for it. If you're asking me the question, because you already know. Yes.
Interesting. For me, High Priestess and the yes or no has always been like, you need to decide for yourself. Stop asking the cards. Like, go within and figure it out. But I like that. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense too. The intuition.
It's like you're already asking, you know it.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the impression. You already, if you're asking, it's because you already know, and you just looking. Yes. you're just looking for a you're looking for a different answer, like kind of sort of
Right.
for me anyways. But yeah, so those different ways you can interpret it.
At the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Cups in reverse. So yeah,
Ah!
don't go for the love. I'm kidding. Anyways, yeah, High Priestess is just beautiful. It's like I feel like a very like we're already like 25 minutes in, and we were like, oh my god, a High Priestess is gonna be done in 5 minutes because it's like very
It's not complicated. It's pretty straightforward.
There's no like
feminine energy,
feminine,
underneath the
assertive,
surface, subconscious. And that's the thing too, depending on what you're asking for in the cards, it can mean different things, but it usually means something underneath the surface, subconscious. Listen to your intuition.
If she's like, but if she was in reverse, it could be that you're hiding into your emotions. You're hiding in your, like, you're not trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Like you have self-doubt. You're hiding your true nature, which is love, which is what we talked about on Wednesday. If you haven't watched that podcast, go check it out.
Which is unconditional love. Anyways, that is the High Priestess for you this Saturday or whenever you're watching it. Doesn't really matter. And we'll see you next week.
We're gonna approaching the Empress, which is the Empress is like the actually the High Priestess and the Empress. The High Priestess is the subconscious, and the Empress is the conscious. She's the earth energy. Yeah,
she's the material, all about the material. She also represents feminine energy in just a different aspect of it. So that's really cool too. Yes. And
she's the queen of all queens.
And you were saying how the magician comes to see the high priestess. For me, it's the magician turns into the high priestess. That's
I don't see the magician comes to. I see the fool comes to see the high priestess.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fool becomes the magician, right?
You say they become.
Oh, that's true.
I believe the fool visits the high priestess. Like to me, I see the whole fool's journey as the Santiago de Compostela. You know that journey in Spain.
Yeah,
where you go and do pilgrimage.
Yeah,
and that's how I see the fool's journey. It's like the fool takes that journey, and then
I like that.
Walks in and sees the magician. The magician is like, "Hey, this is what you," and then the high priestess and everybody. But that's it's like I think it's the same thing, anyways. What we're saying, but it's beautiful. I like what you're saying.
I just noticed that I
Welcome
put
to taro like a root,
like
vegetable,
almost like the Torah over here, which I found interesting.
Okay.
Anyways. We'll correct that next week. And that's it for today.
Okay, love you.
Bye. Have a great afternoon, morning, evening.
Happy tarot.
Yeah. Happy tarot. And connect with her.
Yeah.
Take her out tonight and try to use your intuition.
Yeah.
See where it takes you. See what she tells you.
Ask it's a guy, someone on a date. And I like that, actually. Should I go? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.